Several days ago, my friend Friendly Honey Badger made a video where she said that she thinks that people get caught in the cycles of rage and that they feel that if they're not angry enough, that they're not actually fighting for liberation.
The only thing that sucks about the whole I'm a government plant psyop stuff, which mostly I don't care. It's so stupid, it's embarrassing, but whatever, is that some creators that are doing that, I finally saw a creator that was doing it, and I was reading through the comments about me and Knitting Cult Lady. And I really think these people are addicted to drama, and I think they're stuck in their rage cycle. And so I have a lot of compassion for that. I really do, because I've been there, and it is a terrible place to be because your brain is addicted to the rage, and it feels like if you don't have the rage, you're not a good person. You're not in action. But you feel very justified in that rage, and then it takes you to a place of othering, and then you start dehumanizing, and then you become open to a strong man to say, I can handle that side, I could do whatever it takes to get rid of him, and people would go, hell yeah, and they get blinded by that. I know, because I was there. I have a whole post on this rage that I went through, and I was scaring the people around me.
Okay, that's like a 9-minute long video, and you definitely should go watch the whole thing. But also, I too get called a psyop myself, Friendly Honey Badger, and Knitting Cult Lady, all because we're like, please don't catastrophize. Let's face this situation with our rational minds engaged, right? Let's not give in to the propaganda. Let's not let the psychological tactics of the Trump regime work on us, because they are trying to make you panic. They are trying to make you catastrophize. They are trying to make you hand over power to the regime so that they don't actually have to work to rob you of that power. If you freely give it up, then you save them a whole lot of work. You do their work for them. So I know the three of us in particular, Honey Badger and Knitting Cult Lady and myself, we're like, hey, y'all, we have enough real problems to worry about. The Trump regime is doing a lot of really, really bad things. We don't have to write catastrophic fictions in our heads and get fixated on the what ifs when there are real problems that we have to address. We cannot get frozen and shut down by catastrophizing in our brains, by engaging in doomerism. And just for doing that, the three of us get called psyops. Again, people don't know what a psyop means when they use that term. What they're saying is like, I don't like that you are telling me not to marinate in my own anxiety. I don't like that you're telling me that I need to actually take action instead of being frozen, catastrophizing about worst case scenarios. I don't like that you are not massaging my feelings, that you are not willing to engage in those cycles of reassurance seeking. I mean, I could hypothesize about how interesting it is that it's women creators on the left who tend to get called psyops by other people on the left when we say things that they don't like, and maybe they just mean you're a bitch and I don't like what you have to say. You won't validate my feelings when they are self-indulgent or they're harmful. And I don't like that. I don't like that you're not willing to handle my distress for me. I don't like that you're asking me to learn to manage my own feelings. But anyway, before I get into too much of a tangent, I really appreciated how Friendly Honey Badger was saying that people can get caught in these cycles of rage. And I think this is very different than what we see with the kind of grievance cycles that folks on the right engage in. On the left, I think what Honey Badger is saying about these cycles of rage is that we can get in this mindset where if we're not constantly outraged, if we are not as like angry as fuck over all of the injustices that MAGA is committing, or even before MAGA, if we're not flaming pissed about the exploitation of capitalism, if we're not flaming pissed about white supremacy and the patriarchy, then we aren't legitimate, then we aren't true activists, that we don't care enough. We can get caught in this fallacy of believing that fighting for justice, that wanting a better world requires us to be filled to the brim with rage at all, every single moment of every single day, or else we're not legit, or else we're not giving of ourselves enough, or we are not allowing ourselves to be empathetic enough. We equate this kind of like, if I have empathy for the suffering in the world, that must make me somebody who is just constantly outraged. And I think that's true. I think that's true for a lot of young people who are kind of deconstructing from their past and are just waking up to entering in to a phase where they are trying to care for other people. They're trying to care for the planet. They are seeing the injustices for the first time and they're really overwhelmed with them. It's very, very natural to have that reaction of being filled with anger. It's not wrong to be angry. I've said before, anger and hope are the two emotions that researchers have shown us are the most effective in resistance movements. Anger is not a bad thing to hold on to. You have to use it in a healthy way. There's a difference between being angry and being filled with rage. But I've been talking a little bit today about how grief is an appropriate response to what we're seeing happen right now. There are so many other ways to be moved. There are so many other responses that are appropriate when we see suffering, when we see cruel, evil people who are causing harm. It doesn't have to just be rage to be legitimate. And I agree with everything Honey Badger said, but I kind of want to take it one step farther. I think it's not just that people are stuck in a cycle of rage because they think that's the only emotion they're allowed to experience. They're stuck in a cycle of rage because they lack imagination. They can't visualize the liberation that they're fighting for. There was a creator a week ago or so who made a video that was like, Doomers, they have no vision. And I think that's so true for activists who can get caught in this rage cycle of wanting to attack people who are not equally outraged, delegitimize people who have a different response, a different perspective, a different connection with other emotions, channel a different strategy when it comes to combating the horrible things that this regime wants to do. When your rage is the thing that is driving you instead of the vision of the world you want to create, when you have forgotten the world that we are all fighting to build, you lose sight of what we're fighting for. We can't just be fighting against the Trump regime. We can't just be fighting against the fascists. We have to be fighting for a better world. We have to have a vision of where we want to take this country, of what we want to do, of the justice we want to bring about. I really feel like activists who can get caught in that cycle of rage and get really angry and upset when they see other activists who are not having that same experience, I think that those folks can't see beyond their own pain. They have a huge amount of empathy, and so they're moved, right? They feel really, really big, strong, overwhelming emotions when they see the suffering that this regime is doing. But they're not able to see beyond their own pain and look to a better future. We have to visualize the world that we want to make. That is what gives us persistence in this movement. People ask me all the time, like, how do you not burn out? And I'm like, well, y'all, we're only 6 months into this. Ask me in a couple years how I'm doing. But for the moment, I don't burn out because I have that vision. I started out with that vision 20 years ago as a permaculturist, right? I want a world with earth care, people care, and fair share. I want resilient and regenerative communities of people who have healthy relationships with each other and healthy relationships with the planet. That vision continually drives me. And because I am able to want to build towards something, I have a world that I'm willing to give my labor toward, my time toward, I'm willing to sacrifice for that vision. I'm able to have persistence. I'm able to have perseverance. Because, man, y'all, it really grinds you down if you're just fighting against the fascists. It really grinds you down if you're just fighting against the corporations, the billionaires who are fucking all of us over. We have to have something bigger that we are reaching for. We have to have a future that we want to create, that we can make. We have to believe that it is possible to make that future. I mean, Trump understands that. Politicians, propagandists, they understand this psychological dynamic. You have to give them something to envision in the future. That's why Trump says he's going to make America great again. Whatever they want to plug into that phrase, whatever gives it meaning for them, whatever kind of greatness that they're hoping for, he lets them imbue that phrase with specific meaning. That's what keeps them going, y'all. That's what helped them get through 4 years of Joe Biden. They have their terrible white supremacist fascist vision, Project 2025 vision of the future. And as god-awful as that is, that keeps them motivated. That keeps them moving forward. They have a vision of America that they want to create, and we can't just be against that vision. We have to be for something. So what is the America that you want to build going forward? If you are stuck in that cycle of rage, what is it that gives you hope? What is it that you dream of? What is it that you would want this country to look like? What is it that you are willing to work and sacrifice to bring about in America? Let that be the thing that drives you.